Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. Well, here we are, November 24th, getting closer and closer to Thanksgiving. But here we are now. Hope you're all doing well. The day is treating you kindly. The energy is a little something special. It's interesting how the algorithms of AI will put specific historical stories or whatever into the timeline to kind of tug at the heart. So it makes me curious, you know, because you think about something and then all of a sudden you start getting ads for it on your social media or whatever. So there's something going on there, because I typically don't see these things that disturb me like I got earlier today. It's really interesting. The message earlier, and I think I posted about it, was that it's time for cleanup. Somebody's saying it's time for cleanup, and they are collecting energy or something like that. A while back, I was told that this winter there was going to be a significant decline. So I'm guessing that there's going to be like a lot of timeline bifurcations, which will probably just kind of appear as though there's some kind of weird, massive thing. Or maybe they'll just organize something like that. It's in process, I'm sure. But let us tap in and see what kind of storyline Spirit would like to share with us about current circumstances. I mean, the world is in chaos and everything's changing, and landmass and locations and timelines and all that will most likely shift. Well, for the central energy, let's storyline for the collective, please, Spirit. Storyline for the collective. What do you got for this? Whoa. Central energy. We've got the Eight of Pentacles in the reverse. So somebody is not able to focus. They're not liking their work. They're unemployed. In the challenge position, Nine of Pentacles. They could be thinking about your success. They're challenged by your success, your life of luxury. They want it. They want it. In the subconscious, woo! Well, did you see that? No. Well, in the subconscious, we've got King of Pentacles in the reverse. So a greedy, corrupt person. They don't have any money. Whatever they were trying to do, they were trying to get your life of luxury, your Nine of Pentacles here, and they failed. Ooh. So things are about ready to shift. I mean, this is all happening on the 5D or whatever D, you know. It's going to start manifesting here in the 3D. You're probably going to start getting visuals of everything. It's going to probably look like chaos, you know. Certainly, there's going to be a lot of chaos. Because people are losing everything. There's an adjustment happening here with the wealth. It's like the meek really are inheriting the earth. And whomever else, you know, the upper Supreme Court and God and all of the angels that are coming forth with their evidence of their experiences, you know, their testimonies. So it's creating a big shift. In the recent past, 3 of Swords. Yeah, they're real upset. They're depressed because you're successful. You learned all your lessons, passed all your tests. Intentions and expectations. Woo! 6 of Swords. You're moving on. You're leaving it behind. And that's the turn of the wheel. So they know that you're out of here. You're moving away from the trauma that they were inflicting upon you, trying to get your life of luxury, trying to get your new cycle, your ascension, your reward for surviving and learning from and growing from all of the adversity. They thought they were going to really be able to pour it on and just take you out and then cash in. But no, you like your life. You're not letting it go. Whoa, and they're in a nightmare. 9 of Swords nightmare. You're transitioning out of here. The wheel is turning. The lens is being looked through. So we got 3 of Pentacles in the reverse. Apathy. So they're making mistakes. The team, there's disharmony within the team. Refusing to learn, so they're doing the same thing, expecting different results perhaps. In the environment. Whoa! Devil in the reverse. Detachment. You've got your freedom from the devil. And you're coming into this 9 of Cups here. You're restoring control. Oh, and look at this right here. We got the World. Restoring control. You have this as a great accomplishment. Detaching from the devil. Hopes and fears. Celebrate, celebrate, dance to the music. Merriment. I'll tell you, it seems like the closer we get to the finish line, the less patience I have. And I've been practicing patience for decades. It's crazy. And the outgoing energy, please, Spirit, what's outgoing energy? Well, you know, financial loss, Page of Pentacles in the reverse. Somebody lost their job. Somebody got fired. Somebody got discredited. They don't have a foundation. They didn't lay the groundwork. They're lazy. They're experiencing a financial loss because you are getting the 9 of Pentacles and the 9 of Cups. They were really trying to take you out, replace you, be you. They're still hoping they can, but it requires a relationship, see? It's their favorite weapon of war, relationship. Apparently, we got invasive species kind of looking like us. They like to tap into that energy, claim it. You got the Ace of Pentacles here, so there could be a business opportunity for you and your partner, who you are with now or who you will be with. So you could be opening a business. It'll be profitable. And somebody is disappointed. They're in regret because Queen of Swords has done her research and she's telling the truth and there's justice being served. So There's mental clarity. There's no mind clouds or nothing like that going on, right? Just the simple truth. Just the simple truth. And that's a big sword. That's a big old sword. And the lovers are getting together. Yep. Eventually, like I said, the closer we seem to get to the goal, the less patience I seem to have. And I've been singing the song of patience since 2004. Not even kidding. Well, we got the Eight of Pentacles in the reverse. Somebody is overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed. They can't focus. They're doing the same thing over and over, and they're just not able to focus. It's not working. Love spells. Love spells. It's not working. Overworked. They might have overdone it. They're not able to focus. They're thinking about your Nine of Pentacles here. Your success, your win, your victory, and what you got coming for you. A life, you're going to be comfortable. You might be more than comfortable. You might be happy. You might have a wealth of happiness. Well, you do have 9 cups here for sure. Probably got a whole bunch of love in each one of those. Woo! So, yeah. So these guys, whoever this is working on love spells that aren't working, they're having challenges. They're having challenges. People are being cautious. Love spells don't seem to be taking effect like they once were. People know that they're coming into recognizing their value. And so it could just very well be that they're having challenges because people are being cautious. They're like, whoa, I know my value. And, you know, this isn't just oh gosh, earlier I heard somebody, one of these masculines, ask another masculine if she was a fornicator. Can you believe it? That's all they think about is that's their weapon of war, the relationship and intimate encounters. That's how they take out the divine feminine. This is an imposter species or whatever. It's wild, and they're posing as humans, but they have these very narcissistic and misogynistic characteristics. It's wild. And they all kind of have those same characteristics. Like there's no unique personality at all. It's just the same characteristics. It's wild. Usually involving or revolving around gaslighting, love bombing, and, you know, just that kind of wham bam, thank you ma'am, and then, you know, squeezing you out of your happiness and your comfortability, and then moving on to the next one. Well, anyway, we got somebody, they're in an Eight of Pentacles reverse, they're overworked, they're doing these love spells, King of Pentacles in the reverse. So they've gone broke, they've lost everything, they're corrupt, they could be greedy. Their business could be failing. They might be having a bankruptcy or something. They want to get a love spell because they have to get into the womb and they have to get into this beautiful pocket of creation and extract the energy so that they can utilize it to do their magical love stuff, whatever they got to do in order to get profitable, right? So anyway, they are corrupt. They might be, like, we got extortionists here. They might be trying to extort somebody. Maybe they have. Oh. Mercury retrograde. They're broke. Mercury retrograde. They got to go back, whatever that means, back in time. Whatever they're doing is going back on them. Excuse me. Three of Swords, they're in kind of a heartbreak, some kind of trauma, like there's a disconnect. Somebody's depressed. And this is just a collective general read. It may not be for you. Please don't make it fit if it doesn't. And it's for entertainment purposes only. It's story time. And for me, it's planetary. It's much more macro than it is micro. But it could be micro for you. Just take it as it resonates. Don't make it fit if it doesn't. We want to be happy here. Woo! So Three of Swords. Somebody's in grief. We got a spy. They might be feeling as though people are spying on them. They could be upset. They feel like somebody's eye is on them. It could be that they're upset that you have done your research. So you've kind of cut them off. You're like, you know what they've been up to. You know what they've been up to. They've been being real mean, real mean. Six of Swords here, moving on from that trauma, and the Wheel of Fortune turns. You're moving into your destiny. You're moving away from that. And you're not the only one in this boat. So you're with somebody else, or you have your guide, your guardian, somebody who's watching over you, escorting you away from that trauma. Guardian angel. Intuition. You're very well connected. You might be looking for all the red flags. You're very hypersensitive considering the trauma that you're leaving behind. Like all your nerves, your whole nervous system. I know for myself, the best way that I could describe it at one point in time was that my whole nervous system, kind of like those wires, you know how they have those plastic sheaths on them so that they don't short out. It was kind of like that. Like I envisioned my whole nervous system, whereas all the plastic sheathing had been burned off and everything was like raw, you know, and just like, and the whole nervous system was on fire. It was crazy. Sensitive, so sensitive. So you're very sensitive, most likely from the traumas that you have had in the past. You're alive. It just lets you know you're alive, right? Your sensitivities, your temple, transmitter, receiver, and you know, with all your senses may have been heightened, and it still may not feel very good. Somebody's in a nightmare. Somebody's in a nightmare because you're using caution. You're like, you got this good future. Your energy is good. You don't want anybody coming in messing with you, you know. These love spells, they might be going back on them. Like the more love spells they do on you, the more insane they might get with this heartbreak, this need, this depression. Guardian. They're afraid. They're in fear of your guardian angel. They're in fear of your escort, your guide, your guardian. They can't sleep. They might not be able to sleep at night. They might be getting harassed with all of this harassment, all of this magic that they've been trying to do to drive your mind into making a choice or a decision that you otherwise would not have made. Your guardian is probably making this person like they can't sleep. They're taking, and I heard a while back, they were upset because these entities that had been feeding on humanity, on the suns and the stars, they weren't letting go of the energy. They have been instructed to let go. This is the end of their relationship with batteries, or what they see as a commodity, energetic food or whatever. But Most High said this is the end of their relationship with batteries, so they're not able to recharge themselves off of our energy. It's done. That's supposed to go away. They're having a nightmare. Anybody who tries to come and feed on you or harvest your energy to do something is probably going to get a something or other. I don't know. But Three of Pentacles in the reverse, they're unable to sleep. They're making mistakes. They're arguing. Um, they're in the Eight of Pentacles reversed. They can't focus, trying to do these love spells. They're trying to get an intimate encounter with somebody because this is their go-to weapon of war. That's what they've been doing on the humanity who did not know that there was a species posing as at war with them, trying to terminate their existence and then reformat, genetically modify them into a species they could claim as their own creation. This is my understanding. And the divine said they were really upset over the scientists' experiments that have been going on here. Nasty business. So anyway, they're making mistakes. They refuse to learn. They might not even care anymore. They're in a nightmare. Heartbreak, water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. You know, 1 or 2 or 3, there could be, of these 3 of Pentacles. Excuse me, we got the Devil in the reverse. So there's a release, a detachment. You're restoring control. You've got your 9 of Cups here, accomplishment. You're still full of love. You're still very happy. You're still very balanced, and you are turning the wheel on this world. So you got the wheel up there. You're leaving the trauma behind, and you are closing out the cycle. This is a completion of that cycle. And there's a celebration, 3 of Cups. And so, yeah, we got health. So this is a completion of health issues that could arise. There might be some health issues. It could be the completion of there being health issues because these ones have been feeding on your energy, you know, kind of leaving your temple depleted of the power source that it needs to thrive. So there is illness and sickness requiring medication. And then once these entities get you on that medication, then they feel they actually own. So it's weird. It's this weird game. It's this weird species, this weird intergalactic freaking thing. We didn't know that we were in a competition. You know, we thought we were actually making families, but that it never really panned out. It became more of a farm. So there's celebration here. We got friends having fun. Oh, and I'll let you know that there is this nightmare here. So, like you might be having some thought patterns that are, you may be feeling surrounded by the boogeyman, right? They're everywhere. And you might get sick to your stomach. And you know why? It's because this magician is trying to do this stuff on you. So what you're seeing, you know, and it's weird because I think God worked it so that when these ones were doing love spells, it's like something the opposite would happen. Like to me earlier, it's like the historical ads and storylines popped up on the YouTube that were of atrocious and heinous brutalities committed against women. And then they kept popping up. And so like this spell, like whatever they were doing, this magic, it was like popping up with this ugliness on the internet. And I'm just roiling in my belly, you know? And then the next thing you know, I'll just let you know right now, you got to drink water if you have it, or at least add the element of breath, the air, and then start mentally ticking off your list of gratitude. You got to pull your attention out of that because you can't do anything if your nervous system is affected in a bad way. You got to settle and then clear the mind and then think, right? So we got celebration. It could be patience, just a few more months. There'll be a celebration. You know, and I think it's going to be spring because last year, a couple years ago, I had a vision of spring. Like I was at work and I looked out and so there was like this violet sky and everything was violet, which is a healing color. And there were no leaves on the trees yet. It was like dawn or early morning and it was beautiful, crisp morning. and everything was violet. So I think on a morning like that, when I go to work and I see it like that, I'm going to be like, ooh, yes, it's time. But could be just a few more months, springtime. So Page of Pentacles in the reverse, that somebody's lost their job. Somebody's lost their job. They've been manipulating everybody with these love spells, you know, manipulating their partnerships, their marriages, and then whether or not they last with this magic and all of this weird stuff, you know. So it looks like they've lost their job. They're not able to do that anymore. They could have been replaced, or maybe the whole system is being destroyed by your guardian angels and those that are with them, your ancestors and such. No. So they're lazy. They lost their job. They received the answer, no, now is not the right time. Financial loss. They're not getting the money. There's no groundwork. They don't have a foundation. They don't know what to do. There's no plans. Communicate. Oh. So they want to compromise. They want to communicate. They want to work it out. It could be that this is a no communication because, yes, there is a divorce. A divorce, and this is a fire sign, is divorcing this narcissist. This narcissist keeps doing love spells on this fire sign, and this fire sign's like, no, no, no thank you. It's not the right time. They're trying desperately to get back in, but they're divorced out of your energy. They're divorced out of your energy, and there's no communication. No communication. They're divorced out of your energy. This is a narcissist who goes both ways. And you're probably a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. They lost their job. They're no longer controlling your energy, your future, your path, your purpose, or anything that you have, your material wealth, your authority, and whatever your job status is. They can't handle you. So again, expect to hear from them soon, because they want to ask you for a date, but they're told to move on, or maybe your guardian angel is going to make them move on. So they're unavailable, move on, because there's a honeymoon phase with an earth sign. So we got a fire sign and an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, coming together, it sounds like. And this narcissist is going away. Dreams. I like it when a story ends happy. You know, when you can just relax and you know that whatever you're doing, it's not because somebody's working magic and to manipulate your thoughts. You know, that it's real, that it's authentic. It's not a manipulation. So that's good, fire sign. You're divorced out of this mess. They're not getting your life of luxury. They're not getting your comfort. That devil is getting detached right out of your life. Isn't that nice? They might be spying on you. But they can't focus. This power of 3 in the reverse, they're not able to focus. They're overworked with the 8 of Pentacles in the reverse. They're trying to do a love spell, which could be bouncing back to them. It could be a trap. They might feel like they're trapped. They might have been trying to do a love spell to trap you, somebody out there in the collective, and instead it boomeranged back onto them, and now they're trapped by whatever their intention was. And I can tell you that a few months back, the divine stated that their intentions shall be their gift. So, and also he said that if they wanted a world of violence they shall have. So, I'm really glad that I chose to be happy. For sure, for sure, for sure. So we got life of luxury here, 9 of Pentacles, success. And they're challenged by that. They're challenged because you're using caution. You're making a decision to work on inner healing. When you were challenged by this person, you made the decision to work on inner healing. And now you're using caution and you're doing your research and you're not just accepting things at face value anymore, because you know that they're doing magic and they're trying to reflow your thought patterns, connected with your emotions, to get you to kind of do whatever it is they wanted to do. Master manipulators. These aren't just your misogynist narcissist. Oh no, these are master manipulators. They even have technology to back it up if they have access to it. The dance. The dance. Bad luck isn't brought by broken mirrors, but broken minds. A coven of sadists. So they're challenged. You get in this life of luxury. You did all your inner healing while you were being attacked and viciously by this coven of, what was that? Sadist, coven of sadists. You did your shadow work. So you went inside, you dove deep, deep, deep into that shadow and you worked it. And now you're using a lot of caution. You're doing your research before you let anybody in, because you did your work and you're coming into this life of luxury. You did that work. You did the dance. So now they're broke and they're greedy. Their love spell is going back on them. They fell into a trap, doing magic on you. Love. Now they love you. Oh my gosh. And if they wanted you to be in a trap of this love, what does trap say? Why did they do that? I mean, I told you not to go into that house. They were warned. They were warned. Now they're in love and heartbroken because you've done your research and you don't want to have anything to do with them. All they can do is watch you, and they're saying, help me, right? They needed you for a sacrifice. They need your energy. They need to, they need you. These antichrists, they don't have any light in them. Like you're their source. So that's sad. You're in the Six of Swords energy and you're moving away from that trauma because, they were just feeding on you. There's a change. You're moving into a different destiny, and you're using your intuition. So you're paying attention to the red flags. You're using caution here. If anybody asks you to dance, because what they were, look at that woman there with that thing around her neck. You know what they're doing. You're like, this guy's having challenges unaliving somebody because they fell into their own love spell, into their own love trap. So they're in trauma now. Maybe they tried to cause trauma. You've done your research. They're in grief. You've done your research. You know who this is and what they're doing. And you're like, oh, no, thank you. And we've got moving away from the trauma. And you're moving into your destiny. The wheel is turning and you're using your intuition regarding a combination. Now this card is from the movie Fly. I think that was from the 80s. We got a scientist there. He went into the transformational bin there, booth, little pod, whatever. But there was a fly in there. So when he did his thing, like the genetics of this fly went into him. So he's a hybrid. He's a genetically modified being. So you're using you're using your intuition, and you're paying attention to all the red flags regarding those who are not fully human anymore. You've done your shadow work, and you're using caution to find out more information about this dance. This dance with people who have broken minds. They're in a nightmare. They could be afraid of your guardian angel. They might be having anxiety because of, you may have more than one. A lost loved one watches over you. It could be ancestors. It could be a new family that you're coming into in this new cycle that has yet to manifest, or somebody that you're already with. Take it as it resonates. Your ancestors could be over there keeping them up at night. Keeping them up at night. You know, because they kept you up at night, probably. Doing whatever. They tried to sacrifice you. You're moving on out of this world. They set a love trap for themselves. Now they're crying. All right, oh, there we go. Okay, nightmare warrior. Oh my goodness. What do you got going on? Your guardian angel is a warrior. They're bringing a nightmare to those who refusing to let you go. And anybody who may have done nasty, nasty things to you, they're getting it. They're getting it. Getting it bad. Getting it bad. Getting it bad. You see that? They're calling, that was one of the things that they said. They call somebody out there a butcher. We got this guy with a chainsaw. They call somebody out there a butcher, just so you know. Yeah. I sometimes wonder if they're talking about sending it to me, or if they're talking about somebody attacking somebody, if they're talking about your guardian angel. I don't know. But somebody out there, either in the ethers or whatever, 4D, 3D, 4D, 5D, whatever D, somebody out there they're not very nice to those people who have been hurting you. They're having a nightmare. And they doing these love spells, trying to mold your mind and your heart, sway your heart, and it's affecting them. No, they're making mistakes. Three of Pentacles in the reverse. Disharmony. They refuse to learn. Water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. They could be a genius. They could be a scientist. It could be an intelligent animal. Mad scientist. The power of three, the Three of Pentacles, water sign. It could be like a group of scientists who've been doing genetic experiments, trying to create intelligence or do alterations within the mental field. Oh yeah, and they, yeah. Because they wanted to command the field of consciousness, right? They wanted to rule your mind. They wanted to control your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your life, your wife, your husband. If you ever get to get married or have a child, they wanted to control it all. They wanted to be the genius, and I think that they've done this. They've done this to themselves. So this is a group of scientists. Water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. You've got freedom of the devil. It's in the reverse. So there's restoring control. There's a detachment from this devil. Devil. So we've got freedom from the devil because he's in the reverse here in the beginning of the environment there. You've got your Nine of Cups, wealth, and the world is here. So the completion of a cycle. Health issues could arrive for the devil. Because you're not around for them to suck life out of anymore. You're taking off. You're in your boat. You're leaving, and you're protected by this warrior guardian. They're gonna mess them up. So the best thing you can do, if for to help your ancestors and your guardian and all of that, is to stay settled within the waters of your own temple. Make sure that you stay stable, because there's a lot of heavy duty work going on, and you don't really want to complicate things. You want to help it be beneficial for you in your life and anybody that's in your world, right? Wild. So we got 3 of Cups: joy, celebration, merriment, and patience. Just a few more months. Good things come to those who wait. And we've got the Woods. Patience, just a few more months. The Woods. It's like a totally filtered reality. Good things come to those who wait. And you know what this is? It's like your next life or your new life. It's like, okay, action. We got the Woods. So it's like they're filming a reality show or something. It could be that this is your lifetime story. And, here in the valley of the shadow of death, where there's forests everywhere, it could be something like that. You've celebrated, you've graduated out, you've learned all your lessons, you even surpassed some of those impossible things that no one thought you could. And it's like it's your lifetime story. So you're going to get to celebrate here in just a few more months, is what that looks like to me. Because of the overall picture. It could be that it's like like an overall picture, not just this life, but the accumulation of many lives, and what you have learned and what you have become, and all of that value through those experiences that you have added to your soul, right? So you can manage yourself in situations that perhaps, earlier in this life or in a previous life you weren't equipped to manage, but you did a whole lot of stuff this time, and you're free of this devil. You're free of this devil. We've got somebody, this Page of Pentacles is in the reverse. They have lost their job, they've lost their money, they're lazy, and there's no groundwork. Like perhaps they had no real experience. They were siphoning energy out of those that they were connecting with via the love spells, and then they were wearing those energies and those gifts, and they were connecting to this mind of those, and then they were pretending like those were their thoughts, their messages, their gifts, but it's not. So they've lost their job, they're lazy, there was no groundwork done. It was just a pilfering and a wearing of a cloak and pretending. So we got no communication, because yes, there is a divorce for this fire sign from a narcissist who is sexually confused or wanton, or whatever you want to say, in the earth. They've lost their, they've lost their job, they've lost their home. There's no groundwork, meaning they got to get off the earth. There's no ground. There's no ground. They got to get off the earth. No communication. Yes, a complete separation and divorce. We got a fire sign. Now there could be a fire sign narcissist who's confused sexually that's getting evicted off of the planet. I don't know. Take it as it resonates, but that's what I'm looking at it at. You're restoring control and detaching the devil from the wealth and from the world. From the wealth and from the world. Health issues could arise for this devil. And we got these people who've been loyal to them or whatever. They're looking up and they're like praying. But the Most High God said that they were going to be the new fodder, because they've been feeding on humanity for centuries. And now he's like, this is the end of their relationship with batteries. We're done with that. He's tired of them feeding on his family. And so it's done. It's done. They're getting kicked off the earth. Cat, animal. Cat, animal. You might have a guardian, like your, you may have a protector who is a cat. You know what they say? They say, who is that, God, or like, isn't there, like, they're the lion or whatever? So there may be a cat animal protecting you, guiding you. Yeah. From the magic, all these magic spells, like everything throughout time, like all of this cursing, hexing, freezing, generational, extermination or whatever, like all those hexes and curses are going back on these friends that were doing that to you. That was not nice. And now they're in shock and they're in grief because it was all lies from the other side. Oh my goodness. To wear somebody else's face in order to gain their experience. They were obsessed. They were obsessed with icing your fate, with freezing it, stopping it, flipping it. See that thing there, that animal in the ice there? It's upside down. So they were trying to freeze your fate in the water with this water beast. They wanted you as dinner. Oh my goodness. But now you're celebrating because whatever they sent out to you is going straight back to them, heading right back to them. They got egg on their face. They got egg on their face because they were dealing with a midnight trickster. Oh my goodness. Whoa. What did they do? They called something up, a boogeyman or something up out of their book, something forbidden to go after the twins. Could be twin flames. You know, the twin flames, soulmates, whatever. It was forbidden to do that. Or maybe they called up forbidden magic. Maybe they're doing forbidden magic. They were eating them. They were eating those twin flames, man. They were consuming it, and it was forbidden. They were told by the boogeyman out of their book that was a thing to do. Ah, boogeyman. Oh man. And now nature is pecking the heck out of them, reaping the harvest, taking them in flight. They're gonna move them off the planet. Holy. Yes, and that's what I heard the other day. So it's time to wrap it up, and I thought it was bad guys, but maybe it's God and all of those that have been working on behalf of freeing the earth from this thing. Time to wrap it up, and it's time to gather the energy. It's time to harvest. So all of these that are leaving. You got a cat protecting you. You might be a cat. You might in the zodiac. They fell into a trap. They love bombed themselves. They love bombed themselves. Or they set a trap for you, for love, but it boomeranged back on them, and now they're all in love. They don't want to let you go. Play. They fell into a trap. They were playing around. They were playing around. They weren't focused. And they fell into a trap. They were playing around. You've got your success here, your life of luxury, and you did your shadow work with your challenges, and you're being cautious. You're being cautious when people invite you to the dance, or want you to party because you're Sorry about that. The phone rang. Are we still clicking? Yeah, we're still doing it. All right, that's good, because normally when I'm just doing a video and the phone rings like that, it ruins the whole thing. I have to start over. All right, I guess that's the difference between live. So you got a life of luxury coming up here with the Nine of Pentacles. You've handled your shadow work. You've expanded like you have. You're using caution when anybody invites you to a dance. You know that their minds are, there's something wrong. There's something wrong here. We got self-interest. See, we got, when they invite you to the dance, you're using your intuition, because you got this woman there right here. And then you got these guys, they just want to, they're hungry, man, woman. So, you know, they're having challenges getting you to the dance because you're using caution. You know, they're going to want to come in and offer you some kind of opportunity, but it's just because you got all this Nine of Pentacles, they want to kind of, you know, they want to, I don't know, they're broke and they're greedy. But whatever this love spell is, it's going back. Or maybe they want you to come back because they're in love. They might want you to come back now because they're in love. But this is an extortionist, some kind of corrupt person. It's a Frankenstein. It's a Frankenstein. It's a science project. I told you they were doing these weird science projects on themselves and on others. We got some mad scientists here doing crazy stuff, and they're in trouble. They're in trouble. And they want you to come back because you were their food. You were their fountain of eternal youth. They could just feed and feed and feed, and they were always feeling great because you could just produce more energy. You might feel drained around them or whatever. Maybe they were using your energy to do scientific experiments. They want you to come back. They want your genetics and all of that to do scientific experiments on. They're going to call it love. Warning. Be warned. Be warned. This person is greedy. They're broke and they want you back. They want to do experiments on you, on your genetics. They want to play. So they're trying to set a trap with a love spell. But it's not working. They can't focus. Yeah, because they want this. They want you down here. Help me. You've done your research. You know what's going on. They're, you know. You know what they're doing. Help me. There's a team. There's a team here trying to prepare for a sacrifice. Or maybe they're being prepared for such a thing by your team. Take it as it resonates. You're leaving no trauma behind. This is traumatic, man. All, you know, and sometimes when you tap into the collective, it's like the energy is so bad because it's centuries of soul trauma recycled and then traumatized over and over again. It's crazy how heavy it was before I actually started doing my thing. It's so sad. But it's coming undone. It's being evicted. But they're still hoping they can snatch something up. You're moving away from the trauma. You're moving into your destiny. You're using your intuition. You're not ignoring any red flags about these hybrids. They're like animal scientist genius. They're like intelligent animals. You know their characteristics. You know their personality. It's very hive-like. They all kind of have the same characteristic, love bombing and gaslighting, and then a really total opposite psycho, right? What somebody called it in spirit, they called it the Slim Shady. It's a real Slim Shady type of a thing. Negative influences. So you're looking out for these combinations. It could be hybrids that are negative influences. You're using your intuition. You're not ignoring any red flags. It says any red flags you ignore will come back to bite you. So you don't ignore any red flags regarding this. You got to watch out. Well, it's like you're kind of a sentry, you know? You're a very delicate, sensitive temple housing a beautiful spirit soul complex, you know, that is of varying intensities. And so your mental is a transmitter receiver. So you're picking up, you're receiving messages, you're receiving your sensations, you know, of energies and all of these negative influences or whatever it is that you're receiving in the waters of your body and such. You're able to pick up, you know, those things that are not the same, right? Those things that need more caution. It's what the empaths do, you know? They're very sensitive. Oh. So, because you're not ignoring any red flags, you're really paying attention, and you're moving away from this trauma. They're in a nightmare. Your guardian is tearing them up. Your guardian is tearing them up. They're not getting your gifts. They're not taking your gifts. You're fighting for them. You're a warrior, and so is your guardian. And it's not just one. You've got, I mean, I don't know. It feels like limitless numbers of universes filled with those who love life in all of its forms. It feels like there's the presence that is so big, you know, and it's bigger than this negative, this low vibrational love spell that kind of tries to pollute the solar plexus sometimes. So, you know, Three of Pentacles in the reverse, they're fighting with each other. Water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, these geniuses, they've been doing genetics experiments on people, on animals, on other plant life and such. Everything. They've been altering everything. Mad. Intrusive species. Invading species. Routine. Genius. Routine. Over and back. Dark side, light side. These are some of those folks that have been, what is that called? The over and back rule of the court line or whatever. You know, they've been playing both sides. They've been doing shady stuff and then asking God for protection from those bad people that are trying to hurt them. You know, after they send out this kind of stuff and manipulate people. They were really good at casting the illusions at one point because they had trapped so many powerful light sources. But God came and said, or our beings far greater than these ones, who, you know, broke through the illusions and lifted all of these shining lights up and gathered all the information. It's like, whoa, okay, we now know the routine. So there is a detachment of this devil. The higher beings than we, creators, are restoring control over this planet. They've got a Nine of Cups, wealth, accomplishment. You're full of love, and this is the completion of the cycle for the world. It's a grand accomplishment for the world. Health issues are going to arise or could arise for this devil because you're not there to feed them. Heart bond. Whoever your guardian warrior is, whoever it is this is your health issues are going to arise for this devil from your heart bond, from your family, from those who love you. Three of Cups. celebration, patience, just a few more months. Good things come to those who wait. And we have the woods. The woods. Look at that again. Yeah. A totally filtered reality. So this is like the Matrix. See? And so some of you are, you out there who are graduating up, ascending into this next level of things. This is what it was all about. They thought if they could take you out, then they could replace you, take your identity and wear your energy, and then advance into the ascension. But I think what the devil was really trying to do was to get up there into the upper dimensional spaces and make war, right? But it got busted right here. The upper dimensional divine came and said, whoa, Charlie, I see you got some science experience there. So it's like they were filming a lifetime story. And so there could be a celebration because your lifetime story has brought about an excellent shift for what appears to be the whole planet Earth. And loving unions and generational family trees. It appears as though humanity will survive. Dominance. So, yeah, they were filming lifetime stories of humanity being dominated, and now they are going to be the new show. They're the new show. This is your last lifetime story, said Divine Mother in one of her aspects, but it's just beginning for these ones. This is their lifetime story now. They fell into the trap of love. Like you refuse to stop loving. You refuse to stop loving. See, they wanted to tear your heart out, betray you in every way, make you feel like love never exists. But it does because it's in you. The whole world is just nasty. But love exists. You might have been confused as a younger person or even an older person or whatever, but it exists because it's in you. So it's got to be out there somewhere, even if it's not showing up in your life. So they lost their job and they lost their home. There's no groundwork for them on earth. There's no more communication. Yes, luck is on your side. There is a divorce here. We've got a fire sign narcissist confused about their sexuality. So they could be a fire sign. You could be a fire sign. There's a divorce here from Earth. From Earth. There's no groundwork for this narcissist and they're on the Earth. They don't get to be here on the Earth. We got communication. So there's no communication with them on Earth. They're not allowed to communicate with anybody on Earth. They're being evicted from the planet. This warrior is not fooling around, and he's, you know what I love? And I'm just going to say that right here. What I really love is that, you who have experienced the brutalities of these devils, you know how severe it is. And when I think about the guardian angels and the other guardians of various universal spaces and places, because, thought and energy is like right there, right? And then you got, your various dimensional spaces, your levels and your layers and your realms and different skills and intensities and connections. It's all so very unique, and that's why we kind of need each other, But we had this devil come in there and they just decided to feed and do magic and replace and do mad scientists and try to take over the planet and the life upon it and mutate and terraform and do all this stuff. It was crazy. They wanted to eliminate humanity. Sincerely. It's not working. Your guardian angel is a warrior. This person is not taking it lightly. They're not getting your gifts. They're not getting your gifts. You're protected. You're protected. You could be protected by from a whole community that was creating mischief for you by stealing your seeds, your ideas, what you were trying to plant, you know, your influence in the world. They wanted to silence you, make certain that nobody could see you or your light or your shine or hear you speak or be your friend or your lover or whatever, you know. They didn't want you to be known. But your balance, your ability to remain balanced throughout all of the brutality and the destabilization, your ability to manage yourself well, has gained you freedom. And it's not just you, it's other people on the earth, because this devil is being released. So your pain and your suffering hasn't been for nothing. Definitely. These scavengers are at risk. There's wrath. There's wrath here. Wrath. Because they were bringing distractions to the sacred space and trapping the golden nuggets, the golden lights, the suns and the stars, and then feeding on them like the children, right? Distracting them from their flight. Taking off, rising high. They kind of bound them. Yeah. It's terrible how it always starts so young, you know? But at the same time, time is our friend. It allows us the opportunity to do the work that we need to do to settle this powerful force within us, right? We have to learn how to manage it well without blowing anything up, because, you know, you don't get to go live in a beautiful place if you're too busy blowing stuff up, you know? It just doesn't happen like that. It just doesn't happen like that. I don't know why people thought it would happen like that. Well, they thought it was going to happen like that because they thought they were going to be able to stick it to you with this magic and all this mask wearing and the harvesting of the mental body and, you know, the blockages on the throat and the heart and blinding of your third eye and all that stuff. So they're not able to focus on these love spells. There's a trap. They fell into a trap playing with you. They're guilty of playing with you. They didn't do anything. They were just trapping you, and they fell into a trap. They were doing their love spells. It's not, oh, see, I told you, the lion, the cat, you got to go. Your fierce warrior here is tearing them up. They're not taking your gifts. Absolutely not. And that's one of the things that I heard first over the couple of years ago was never give it back. You will never give it back. You will never give your gifts or your energy or your anything that is meant for you back to them. They will never take it from you. They got to get off the planet, and this is it. And there's no communication. There's no influence that they're going to be able to bring here. There's no mad scientist experiments that they're going to be able to do. This has just been heinous crimes against all of life. It's crazy. Pure self-interest. Feeding frenzy. These are like intelligent animals, and they are on a feeding frenzy, and they tainted all of the food to make it appear as though everybody's doing it. Problem is, you know, the innocent people didn't know they were doing it. Drowning. Self-interest. They were feeding on everybody's energy and, you know, stealing their wealth and their status and their identity and what, and now they're drowning. They're guilty of playing with people. They're broke and greedy. They want you to come back, or they're Mercury retrograde. They could be going back, or these love spells could be going back. They're trying to set a trap. They're guilty of playing around. They might be using love spells to trap people. It's going back now. Greedy, extortionist, corruption. All of the corruption could be going back to them for doing science experiments on love. They were warned. They were warned. They were warned. They were warned. They were tempted. They were warned. If you are considering going astray, why not just opt out? They didn't believe. They didn't believe in God. These mad scientists thought that they could just tinker with creation and then, you know, suffer. They were suffering delusions of grandeur, thinking of themselves as God because they were able to mutate creation. You know, they called the mutation their creation, but all it was a mutation. We got a lot of manifestors out there, but not very many generators. And neither of them are mad scientists. So there's heartbreak here and grief. Somebody's got their eye on you. You are doing your research. They could be paranoid that somebody's watching them. Help me. Preparation, teamwork, help me. It could be whoever was working together as a team to sacrifice people with gifts. They're being prepared. There's being prepared. There's preparations being made by a teamwork. You watched it all. You did your research on the trauma that was befalling humanity and others. You did your research on the heartbreak. And now you got a whole team here that is preparing these devils for a return on whatever it is that they have coming to them. We've got forgiving. They may want you to forgive them. But we've got Six of Swords. You're moving away from the trauma. You were here. You suffered trauma. You did a lot of research on trauma simply by being in it. And so you found a lot of research about what these people were doing with their sacrifices. And now you've got a team here making preparations. And they want forgiveness because you're moving away from that trauma. And this is the turn of the wheel. You're going into your destiny and you're not ignoring any of the red flags. So you're really paying attention for these hybrids or these entities that aren't fully human being a negative influence. And we've got grieving in the reverse. You're not grieving like they're not able to make you grieve. You don't want them bringing you any grief. So you're like, and I've heard these the antagonists, they're calling some out there sentinels, like Jehovah's Witness. Like you're here as you hear the threats being made, you feel, you sense the influences, you know, the different frequencies and energetic, because not everybody is at a happy state. Some people operate in a very angry, you know, and when you're around them, you kind of feel sick in the tummy or whatever, you know, because they just want to suck the life out of you or whatever. So you're using your intuition. It could be that your intuition as a sentinel or as a watchman or whatever, you're watching for these hybrids or whatever being a negative influence. Like you're gonna make sure that they're not bringing any reason for people to be grieving. You're not going to let them in this new chapter. The wheel is turning and your destined path. They're not going to be there. Maybe they won't be there. Maybe God's keeping them out. Everything that you've experienced here, every trauma that you have endured has, like I mentioned earlier, it has created maybe an ultra sensitivity within your temple, so that you are you got heightened sensitivities now regarding energetic fluxes and influences. Nine of Swords here, nightmare. Somebody's having a nightmare because your guardian is a warrior and they're not going to be taking your gifts. They're not going to be playing with your gifts. They're not going to be touching you any way, shape, or form. They were warned to leave you alone. They were warned to leave you alone, and yet you got these ones out there, and they're weird. They're kind of psychotic, you know, and they're not. It didn't work out the way they had planned, and so, you know, at the very least, they want to get a hold of somebody's genetics so they can continue their mad scientist experiments. Except that God, the Most High, and all of that family, these gigantic beings that are far higher in the dimensional reality, kind of resetting this planet, setting things right, you know. Yeah, they're far greater than any of these scientists and their experiments. Um, they just are. They just are. They weren't willing to settle down or be responsible. Their weed seeds, their routine is to just plant weed seeds to genetically experiment with, you know, the sacred life that was planted here by Creator, by Mother, Father. And it's heinous, man. So there's a detachment from the devil. Most High is restoring control of this planetary system. That's a great accomplishment. 9 of Cups and a completion for this cycle for the world. The devil is being evicted from the planet. Health issues are going to arise for that devil because of your heart bond, because of love. You're on your lookout. You're a sentry. You're going to make sure that it doesn't come back onto the planet. You know, the Cherokee and I think other indigenous cultures have a story about Wild Boy, and how Wild Boy just showed up in the woods one day, and, you know, the boy's mother that found him in the woods, they became friends. But Wild Boy, you know, the boy's mother, like, she would go out into the meadow or whatever, and she'd shake her skirts, and then corn would miraculously appear, and she'd pick it up and bring it home. And one day the boys were like spying on them or something. And then Wild Boy decided to convince his friend here that his mother was a witch and they should unalive her. So they did. So Wild Boy could be this devil. So, you know, the sentry needs to make sure that they are very, very sensitive, and you are, because your nervous system has gone through an extreme adjustment. And so has your heart and your awareness. You've been prepared and primed. And sometimes breaking out of the shell, you know, I guess, isn't so comfortable. But even a little tiny growth, a little tiny sprout, when it pushes up, it pushes itself up out of that shell. Now, how does a little tiny delicate sprout open up a whole shell from the inside without destroying itself? I don't know. So there is great endurance within this beautiful vulnerability, I guess, tenderness. So we've got anxiety. They're having anxiety because they don't know what those who love you are going to do. Health issues are going to arise for this devil, and they're having anxiety because they don't know what your heart bond's going to do. Your guardian, your protector, this warrior who warned them to leave you alone and to stop messing with your gifts. Stop coming for them. They're not getting them. We've got a celebration here, 3 of Cups, patience, just a few more months. Great things come to those who wait. This has been a lifetime story. Wandering around in the woods with all of these these intelligent animals. You know, you could be, like, this is the valley of the shadow of death, you know, where you got mad scientist experiments and everybody wants to eat you, you know. And so here you are. You come down here to what? It's an earth school, depending on well, they hijacked it. So I guess in a good way, it would be different. But anyhow, you survived the impossible path and you broke records along the way. This is your last lifetime story. You've aced it, and you've set new requirements. You've raised the bar. You've raised the bar. And those who were trying to dominate you, or those who were doing that, they lost. They lost dominance. In this lifetime story, the devil has lost dominance. Yep. And health issues are going to arrive for that devil. From your family, from those who love you, from those who care about you, from those who see that your heart is pure. You did not choose a life of violence. A life of violence chose you, and you refused to play. You refused to play. Now, I don't know what you're doing in the spirit. You might be a warrior too, but in this world, you didn't go blowing up anything, and you didn't go hurt anybody intentionally trying to get gain or any of that. You didn't do magic trying to screw up somebody else's life so that your life could be better. You didn't play their game. You did not fall into the trap of temptation of becoming as they are. You did not become like them. You did not become like those who brutalized you. And vengeance belongs to the Lord or to God. And he sent his guardian angels down here to just tear stuff up. They're out of here. There's no groundwork. They never did the work. They were just here, standing on the ground of those who did the work, and while they evicted them. These fancy, high-end, rich places, all this wealth and stuff, you're the one who earned that over lifetimes. And you got somebody up there who refuses to even walk their own dog in the middle of the night, spending all of your hard-earned effort. So there's no groundwork. They didn't do the work. They've lost their job. They're suffering financially. They're lazy. They didn't learn anything. They're getting no communication because luck is on your side and there is a divorce. Now, you're either a fire sign divorcing a narcissist who's sexually confused, or there is a narcissist who is a fire sign sexually confused. They're not allowed to communicate with Earth anymore. They saw it coming. They were told. Now, this blind spot says, caught up in a whirlwind, you can't see what is really going on, ask a trusted friend for advice. They were told, they saw this coming. They knew exactly what was going to happen if you survived. That this was going to go to the upper dimensional Supreme Court and that this would happen. They knew it. They knew it. They were not blindsided by this. They were told. They were told. They were told that there would be fierce consequences if they broke their promises to those that they were having intimate encounters with. Fierce consequences. Now everything they built on that energy that they stole is crumbling because they can't untangle themselves from this mess. Well, everybody, I think that this is sufficient to give us a check-in to what's happening in the world. They were warned. This is your last lifetime story, that they've lost dominance of the planet. This devil has lost dominance over the planet. Now all you have to do is get your spidey senses going and make sure that they don't show up in the wilderness as a wild boy and try to convince a vulnerable child that their mother is a witch and needs to be unalived. We got to prevent the first sacrifice of our new family. We don't want anything like that to happen, right? Because we want to become greater. We don't want to extinguish our lights. We want to fire them up. Yes. Fire them up. Well, everybody, I hope that this is a good story for you. I think pretty soon, we might see some chaos because, as I mentioned at the beginning of this live feed, there is it's time to clean up, or it's time for cleanup was the message. It's time for cleanup, and it's time to collect energy. And that's how, that's how these ones have been viewing humanity. They've been viewing them as an energy. The Most High stated that these ones were the new fodder, so it could just very well be that it's time to wrap this up and sweep the planet of to clear it off, to clean it up, and Divine Mother in one of her aspects said to be prepared, they won't survive. So these devils, whatever these intelligent animals and this science, this mad scientist stuff, they lost. They lost. This is very good for humanity. Very, very good for humanity. God stated that the land was going to go back to the original people, the indigenous people, and not, move away from these combinations. These combinations. These intelligent animals. We're going back. So there's quite a few original human beings out there. No, I don't think there's as many of them as there are these intelligent animals, but take it as it resonates. For a long time, the human being, the beautiful sensitive instrument that we are, our temples, was dominated because they have this Wi-Fi, system where they can just run soap operas through your mind. They can just drive a stream of repetitive negative talk through your mind, and you may think that it's yours, but you're just picking up on it because you're a sensitive divine instrument that is here to pick up on the negativity. It's one of your jobs as I shouldn't say job, it's one of your gifts is to be ultra sensitive to the negative influences that are coming into the territory. Like your spidey senses pick it up. And this is one reason, and then you avoid reasons to grieve, right? You pick it up, you alert the guardians of the territory that you're picking this up, and then they investigate and then they deal with it, right? They were told to leave your gifts alone. They were told not to mess with you. They twisted the energy of many people trying to, I guess, create their idea of what the perfect life form for this environment would be. I'm grateful that they have lost that dominator position here, and that this is the last lifetime story for humanity in this particular fashion. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, God's working it all out. And it's been brutal. It's been brutal. Everybody, the brothers and the warriors that are here. I mean, it's intense. It's brutal. And you know what? I don't know, maybe you might want to say a prayer of gratitude, give thanks that we are shielded from the visuals of the intensity of this clearing, because many of you have suffered so much trauma. I really feel that God and those upper dimensional beings that are working to do this work together, that they're actually like really trying, they're doing their best to protect your mental body because you've been through so much trauma. So it's like they're shielding a lot of people from the brutality of the intensity of what's happening, because you've been through enough. Alrighty then. Well, I wish y'all a fantastic night. Well, it is night here, whatever time it is for you. Take care. Have a beautiful evening, sweet dreams, and a pleasant week ahead. Thanks for being here, everybody. Bye. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thanks a bunch.